Guys, we finally made it. The NFL draft is here. Round 1 starts tonight, so type me if you plan on joining us for our NFL draft coverage. We're starting at 7 o'clock Eastern time here on Chat Sports. Go ahead, get subscribed, turn on notifications so you know right when we go live. We'll be live an hour before the draft, all the way through the draft, and some grades afterwards as well. Then, of course, we'll be live tomorrow and Saturday for all 7 rounds of the NFL draft. But round 1 tonight, starting at 7 o'clock, so type me if you plan on joining us. Now, let's get you ready with the latest NFL news and rumors. All right, rumors are swirling around the Miami Dolphins, so let's start with here before we get Mike Florio's crazy theory here in just a little bit. Ian Rapoport says that the Dolphins are calling teams in front of them to potentially trade up to get an offensive tackle, most likely with the Detroit Lions, who have the number 3 pick. They need to get ahead of the Giants, who also are interested in drafting an offensive tackle. That could mean that Miami is passing on Tua Tagovailoa. There's been chatter of this the last few days. Maybe Tua slides during the draft tonight. We will see, but lots of things going on with the Dolphins. Here's the tweet from Ian Rapoport saying, sources, the Dolphins have called teams in front of them for a possible trade up to number 3 and are gauging, or for number 5, and are gauging the price to move up to number 3. And we could see a run on tackles that we've never seen before. They want a tackle. That is the latest from Ian Rapoport regarding the Miami Dolphins. So here are the top 5 picks. Cincinnati Bengals, Washington Redskins. I don't think anything shocking is going to happen there. You got Joe Burrow to Cincinnati. It's going to happen, regardless of what Florio says. Washington Redskins, they're going to take Chase Young, barring some, huge draft package from maybe Atlanta. We'll get to that rumor in just a minute. Then you got 3, 4, and 5, the Lions, Giants, and Dolphins. We know Detroit has interest in moving down from the number 3 pick. What do you guys think the Dolphins should do with their first pick? Remember, they got 3 first-rounders. Should they just draft Tua? If you think so, type T. If you think it's an offensive lineman, type OL. I still think just sit at number 5, take Tua unless someone trades ahead of you and drafts him, but I don't think that'll happen. Just draft Tua. It simplifies things. I know there's risk, but look, he's a really good prospect. Coming into this year, he was clearly the number 1 prospect. Obviously, a hip injury changes things, but I think when fully healthy, there's still an argument to be made that his ceiling is higher than Joe Burrow's. His arm strength is a little better. He's got better mobility, but the injuries are concerning. So maybe Miami is looking at going a more safer route than drafting Tua. If they go offensive tackle, this is a good draft to do it because there's a lot of good ones. Tristan Wirfs, Jarek Wills Jr. out of Alabama. You got Andrew Thomas, Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. All these guys have a chance to go in the top 10 of the NFL draft, with Wirfs probably being that top guy. So if they trade up, that's probably the guy Miami would want to take with the number 3 pick. Then you've got Florio's crazy theory. He wants to speak this into existence where the Dolphins get the number 1 pick. He says, quote, the Dolphins believe that a potential Godfather offer to the Bengals for the first overall pick would be even harder to refuse if the Dolphins offer both number 3 and 5 as part of the package. Per a league source, that's the primary purpose of the Miami effort to finagle number 3 for Detroit. So he's basically saying they don't want to pick at 3 and 5. They want to use those 2 picks to trade up to the number 1 pick with the Cincinnati Bengals. As it sits now, Dolphins have the number 5 pick, the number 18 pick, and the number 26 pick in the first round of the NFL draft. They're probably going to be busy during the draft tonight. Maybe they package some of that together to move up. I don't think they're going to get the number 1 pick, though, guys. The Bengals are going to take Joe Burrow. That is just what's going to happen. But I'll leave it to you guys. Go ahead and predict. Will the Dolphins trade up for the number 1 overall pick? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I just don't see it happening. Cincinnati, do something smart for once. Just take Joe Burrow. Don't take any calls. Just draft him. Dolphins, they're not going to trade up to number 1. Now, this one's more intriguing. The Falcons have been viewed as one of the more aggressive teams that could be aggressive during the draft for a lot of reasons, right? They're in win-now mode. If they don't win this season, a lot of their coaching staff, GM, could be in trouble. Dan Quinn probably won't have a job after next year if they don't make the playoffs. Apparently, they're trying to make a play for Chase Young. Now, this has started to quiet down. I don't think this is going to happen. The Redskins aren't actively looking to trade down, but Ron Rivera did concede that they are taking calls. They are, willing to listen to what teams have to offer. offer. The problem with Atlanta is they don't have a ton of draft capital. They number 16 pick this year. They have their second, they have their third, couple of fourths and a seventh, no fifth, no sixth. They don't have multiple second and thirds or anything like that. So they would have to offer at least their number 1 pick next year and probably another number 2 pick next year. And maybe that's not even enough to move all the way from number 16 to number 2, especially to get a guy like Chase Young, who in many eyes, including my own, I think he's the best prospect in this year's draft. Obviously, Cincinnati needs to take a quarterback and get Joe Burrow, but the best pure player in the draft is Chase Young. His production's incredible. I think you're looking at a 10 or 15-year pro with Hall of Fame potential in Chase Young, so it makes sense that Atlanta would want to try and get another pass rusher. What team will make the biggest trade in round 1 tonight? What do you guys think? Who's going to make the biggest wow trade? There's typically 1 or 2 that you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming. Which team will do that tonight? Is it the Falcons? They're interested in Chase Young. They are interested in C.J. Henderson as well. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments section. Guys, it's not too late to get yourself an NFL draft hat. The styles are really good this year. You got the flat bills, you got the baseball curve style, fitted, non-fitted snapbacks. We got it all for almost every single NFL team. Go to this link, chatsports.com/NFL draft hat. The cool thing about the draft hats this year is you can wear them after the draft. Like in the past, it's like the styles aren't any good, so if you're going to get it, you're only going to wear it during the draft. Not the case this year. Go to this link, chatsports.com/NFL draft hat. Get yourself a hat today. Trent Williams trade rumors, they're not going away. Several teams continue to be interested. He obviously has been working with his agent to try and facilitate a trade, but the Redskins have taken back control of that leading up to the draft. They're not going to let their agent facilitate a trade during the draft. So the Redskins are in control of the situation as of now. We know that Williams wants out. He's not going to play for the Redskins. It's just a matter of when he does get traded to another team. NFL draft, no better time to make a trade like this happen. Some teams interested. The Cleveland Browns appear to be maybe the top team right now that would like to get Trent Williams. Minnesota Vikings, the Eagles have expressed some interest. The New York Jets need to continue to bolster their offensive line. So some of those teams, I think there's going to be 7 or 8 teams in total that would try to pursue a Trent Williams trade. Where do you guys think he'll play in 2020? It won't be the Redskins, so you have all 31 other teams to pick from. Cleveland makes sense. It seems like they're going all in. They're trying to protect Baker Mayfield. They already added Jack Conklin. You put Trent Williams on the other side, that offensive line is all of a sudden in really good shape. I'll say the Browns, but go ahead and predict for me down below. Just a reminder, NFL Draft starts tonight. Round 1 coverage all night long. Starts at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Myself, Mitchell Renz, Tom Downey. Sorry for botching your name there, Mitch. We will be live for, 7 hours tonight. It's going to be a long night, and we're going to keep you guys covered of every single pick. We'll have draft grades afterwards. So go ahead, join us on Chat Sports. Go ahead and subscribe, and make sure you have turned on notifications so you know exactly when we go live. Some NFL news, the Patriots have signed Marquise Lee to a 1-year deal. Obviously, the Jaguars released him earlier this week. He's dealt with injuries the past couple of seasons, missed all of 2018, only played in 6 games last season, and just had 3 catches. So he was basically phased out of the Jaguars offense. So not a huge surprise that they move on. Patriots need some help at receiver, so they take a chance on a veteran who was starting to turn into a pretty good player in 2016 and 2017 before he got the injury bug. So we'll see if he has an impact on the Patriots. They still could draft a receiver. We know they need a quarterback. I don't think Jarrett Stidham's going to be the answer. N'Keal Harry's a good player. I like him a lot. Julian Edelman, he says he wants to stay there. We'll see what happens in the end with Edelman. I still think there's a chance he wants to get traded to the Bucs, but we'll see if that actually happens. Jarrett Stidham, Bryant Hoyer, they're not the answer. Maybe Stidham becomes something down the road, but we have no evidence of that. So that leads me to this question. Will the Patriots draft a quarterback in round 1? If Tua slides, they could trade up and take him. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Maybe Jordan Love's in the mix for New England as well. I don't think Burrow or Justin Herbert will happen, but Tua and Jordan Love, I think there is an opportunity. Speaking of Patriots quarterbacks, how about Tom Brady? He continues to do some bizarre things. So this story has emerged that apparently he walked into a stranger's home on April 7th in Tampa Bay. He was trying to get to Byron Leftwich's house, the offensive coordinator for the Bucs. That's the story, at least. Who knows how that all goes? Apparently they were trying to practice social distancing. That's why Leftwich wasn't, he wasn't going to ring the doorbell at his house. He was just walking in. So he walks into the wrong house and he's like, "Hey, is this Byron's house?" And the guy's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. So here's the resident, David Kramer. Here's his quote, the guy that Brady, this is the guy's house that Brady walked into, saying, quote, "I'm sitting here and I see this big shadow come up to my door and I hear my doorknob turning and I'm like, what the hell? Like, who's coming in my house? I literally was just sitting here and I watched this tall guy walk into my house." And he goes, "How's it going, man?" And I sarcastically, I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me, dude. Like, who are you?" I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. He just goes, "Am I in the wrong house?" I said, "Yeah, I think so. But what are you looking for? Where are you supposed to be?" And he said, "Is this Byron's house?" And apparently, when he realized this was the wrong house, he just said, "Oh, sorry, man," and just bolted from the front door and bounced, and did eventually find Byron Leftich's house. I don't know if he's picking up a playbook or whatever the case may be, but also recently, Tom Brady got kicked out of a park in Tampa because parks are closed right now in a lot of areas of the country. Just stay at home for a little bit, Tom. You know, it's all good. The draft is tonight. Enjoy the draft. Don't stumble into neighbors' houses this time of year. Just enjoy the draft and join us and watch us here on Chat Sports.